Okay guys, I am going to make this tutorial for you so that you know how to use my new Luxury Face brush set with your creams and your liquids to do a full face. So the first thing I'm going to start with, and I don't do this every day, but most days, I really like it, is the Tarte Base Tape Primer. You can put this under regular foundation or your Radiant Defense if that's what you use. And I'm just gonna rub this into my face. Smells like coconuts, so it's very good. Okay, so once that's rubbed in good, I only needed one little pump. It goes really far, don't use too much. I am going to start with my F1 brush, and you can see it's nice and angled, it's compact. I really love this for putting on my foundation. So normally I will use Radiant Defense if it's just like run out the door, which you can totally use. But I bought this new Fenty foundation that I want to try. It's a little bit darker than normal because when I have a tan, but it's fine. So it looks a little dark when it goes on. Don't worry, I'm just going to blend it down my neck. So this is the color, if you're curious, is 240. So I'm going to take my #1 brush and whatever your liquid foundation is, okay? So it could be a Radiant Defense, it could just be whatever, a Makeup Forever, a MAC, a Chanel, whatever it is that you use. And you're going to buff it on your face like this. You're going to fall in love with this brush. It is so soft and it just blends everything seamlessly. I'm gonna do my nose. It bends into all those small spaces. If you ever feel like you're getting lines, you're probably using a little bit too much, you can always just buff them out by tapping like this though, and it works incredibly. I'm gonna do the forehead. Again, just blending, buffing all this out. Okay, so that is the first step. I'm going to put concealer down, which is why I didn't go too much up under there. It actually blends in pretty good. Okay, so that's my base all over. The second brush I'm going to use is F2, which is the concealer brush, and I'm obsessed with this. You might be thinking, this seems really big for a concealer brush, but it's amazing, and the way that it's angled and it points and the firmness of it, the way the bristles are, it is phenomenal. I'll give you the best concealer. So whatever is your concealer, I'm going to use Tarte Shape Tape in light neutral. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a couple of dots where I want to blend my product. You kind of want a little triangle area like this. Okay, I'm going to start with a little less. If you want, you can also do a little down the center of the nose and you can highlight that out too. So I'm going to take my concealer brush. I'm absolutely obsessed with this brush for my concealer now. It's also way faster than using a smaller brush. You can do the same thing in half the amount of time. A little hair on my face. Come on. Oh my goodness. There we go. So I used a little bit less than I normally would use, so I might add a little bit more. But usually I use too much and then I have to wipe some of it off, so I tried to go less. So you basically take your concealer and you just go right up into that inner corner, and you can see how you're not using the point of this brush, you're using the edge of it, the side of it. Okay, that's where the magic happens. So I'm going to take just a little bit more because do you see how I can still see a little bit of this shadow? You don't want that. So you may need a little more than you've been using in the past if you want to use my techniques. You definitely want this to be super bright. So it should be about 1 shade lighter than whatever's on your face. And you should always blend it down like the side of the nose, the plane of the cheek right in this area, and then up all the way out. So you can see how that's a lot brighter. I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. So fast, so pretty. So now we have that. The next brush we move on to is #3. Now you'll notice it's sort of similar to the first one we used for foundation, but this one is a little smaller and this is flat. This is more rounded. This is really good for buffing product in. So I usually use the Milk Blaze Contour Stick, which I'm gonna put under my cheeks and around my forehead. but they also just came out with some new foundation sticks, and you could also use one of these if you like something smaller. That one's pretty big, so and I just got it in the second to darkest shade called Deep, so it's a little bit smaller. I'm going to show you with this one, and you're basically just going to take it right under, go a little lower, your cheekbone like this. When you look to the front, it should kind of just right down here start to angle towards the corners of the mouth, but you don't want it to come down too low. I'm gonna put a little up here that we're gonna blend in just to shape the face. And then I might come back and do my nose after. So once you have your brush and you have your contour on, you guys do not pull this color down. This color should be blended in and up. So watch how I do that. I take my angle brush, I start here, and I start softly at first. I'm not rubbing too hard. You can see it's really dark, but don't worry, it's gonna all buff out. And you can definitely start with a much lighter shade in those milk colors. Maybe get a color that's just like 3 shades darker than your face. This one's like 5 shades darker. And you can see how I use this shorter end down here to kind of tuck under, and I use that as my guide to make sure I'm not, if I did this, I'd be getting product all down here. So you kind of want to use that and then blend that so that we're blending kind of upwards and we're not blending down. You can go back with either your concealer brush if you want to kind of sharpen up this angle or just blend it out a little bit. Okay, so you can go like back with that and just really lightly soften that out. So you can see though I have this like super contoured cheek now. I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. Just gonna start light. Just gonna blend, blend, blend. I'm also careful not to pull this too far forward. So when I come to the edge of it this way, I kind of start brushing it back. So like forward and back, and then kind of back and up. We want to be tucking that under our cheek, and then I'm just gonna start to blend it in now that I've got it all in the right area. If you just purse your lips a little, you'll be able to see. Again, we're gonna go and we're just gonna kind of blend and buff this line out. Okay, and you can get in there and blend as much as you want. If you want to pick up a little product, turn your brush over where you don't have any product on it and just go over that again, and that'll just pick up a little bit of the excess off the skin if you want to lighten it a little bit more. Okay, so now I have these great contoured cheeks. We're going to do the forehead. Now the important thing with the forehead is you're always brushing it back into the hairline. You do not want to bring it down too far onto your forehead. So you want to make sure you are brushing back into the hairline. Okay, does that make sense? Anybody can do this, you guys. Don't be afraid. If it's too much, you just keep blending, blending, blending. Okay, now if I want to do my nose, I have a really crooked nose, so I hate contouring my nose. But we do have a small contour brush. This is for your nose. You can either draw it straight on and blend it, or you can just take, I'm going to take just the littlest bit on here, and I'm going to try to just, my nose is really crooked, so I'm actually going to try just to contour the upper part first just a little instead of going all the way down, because my nose can be pretty tricky. Yours will probably not be like this. My nose was broken when I was younger. Then I had a nose job when I was 17, so it's a little bit of a tricky nose. I have this little spot right here that indents so it catches light, and it is a doozy trying to deal with my nose, let me tell you. Just going to blend that a little with my finger. So that's just giving it like a little bit of shape. Might just do a little here. Again, you can see how little I'm touching it. I'm just picking up the tiniest bit at a time. And then just kind of wrap it down under the tip of the nose. If your nose is short this way, don't do underneath. You want it to look longer, but mine is pretty long, so I can kind of wrap mine underneath and make that look a little shorter. Then you can always go back with a tiny bit of whatever you used as your concealer. And you can just use your pinky finger. Just use a little on your pinky finger and just take it right down the center of the nose. And again, just blend it, tap it out a little bit. So there we go. So now I have a more contoured nose. But do you see that? Do you see that little area in there? It's like, it doesn't really, the light reflects on it, so it doesn't really pick up the contour. Anyways. Okay, so then you can take some cream blush. I love the milk one, but there's lots out there. We're gonna dab just a little bit right on the apple of the cheek. Don't come in too far, but don't go too far back. You kind of want it to be right in that space between back here and the flat part. So we're gonna dab some of that on. And then we're gonna take our number F4 brush, and this is the one we're just going to use to blend our blush. You can either pick it up off of the blush and rub it on, or you can put it directly on the skin and then blend and buff it in with this. I like to take a little on the tip of my nose because I think it looks cute. Okay, so that's everything. So the last brush we have is our F5. You guys, this brush, you can do anything you want with. If you happen to need a clean foundation brush one day and it's clean and you haven't cleaned your other one yet, you could use this. You could definitely use this to apply foundation. You can also use this to set everything that you just did with some powder. So that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna new Fenty powder that I'm trying out. I like it pretty much so far. It's just one of the minis you can get at Sephora. They have lots of minis at the checkout that you can try before you buy the full size of things. So I'm gonna take this powder, okay, and I'm gonna tap it in here because that's a lot. So it's gonna go like that. And then I am just going to make sure I don't have any lines under there. And I'm just gonna set this. I prefer to almost always set my makeup unless I'm literally just doing a tiny bit of Radiant Defense and mascara and I just wanna look really fresh and dewy, because your makeup will hold longer and stay on long better if you set it, obviously. So some other good powders. Huda has some good powders. What is it? Too Faced has some good powders. It's called Born This Way. This one I like so far. I'm just trying it. This is my second time using it. And that's it. I don't have lip gloss on obviously yet. So that is that. Now I have a fully set face. Of course, if you want to add some glowy bronzer or highlighter, you absolutely can. My favorite one is probably the Hourglass. And you could use either my other face set that's designed for powders or my eye brush set. I like this one for highlighting, and I'll just take a little bit of it like this, exactly kind of where I had highlighted with my concealer, right through here and up the cheek a little bit. And then I'll do a little down the center of my nose. I could also add some more powder blush on top if I want and all of that, or you can just leave it as it is. So super, super excited for you guys to get your hands on all these. I love them. They will give you a flawless face and it just makes it so much fun. So hope you guys are having a good day and I hope that was helpful.